we're just going to hand it over to Raam and just let him introduce himself. Tell us a bit about yourself, your name, obviously, Raam, your job, how many kids you have, and yeah, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. So yeah, I'm Raam. I'm 35 years old. Got two little boys, very high energy, and I work as a lawyer. So finding a work-life balance has always been a little bit difficult, but I feel like it's more important now with the two kids growing up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for the intro. I guess the first place to start is, why did you want to change?
Yeah, sure. So I've always liked my food. And I think I'm one of those typical Indian boys that growing up I was, stick skinny. I could eat whatever I wanted, and I wouldn't gain any weight at all. I got married, got a little bit older, and the weight just started piling on. I never really thought it was a problem until I noticed that my clothes weren't fitting me, or they seemed a little bit too tight. And then I'd have to go and get more clothes, and I'd complain to my wife that the washing machine has shrunk the clothes again. But it was my eating habits, and it got to a point where people started commenting as well that you need to do something about your weight, because it's going to be unhealthy for you in the long run. It didn't help as well that people were comparing me, as a lot of Asians do, to Rishi, who at this point had been sort of 4 or 5 months on the program. So we got a lot of friends and family members saying, "Oh, you look like the before and after picture," or something. And that's when I sort of realized that actually, yeah, I need to do something. I didn't have the energy levels I used to before, and trying to sort of do it myself, with diets and just eating salads, it just wasn't working out for me. I couldn't hold myself.
And can I just say, and also can I just say that Raam was actually on the fence for a while. When Rishi joined the program, Raam was actually toing and froing, and you contacted me a few times on Instagram.
Were you considering starting at the same time, like doing it sort of almost coincide with each other?
A few months in, so I think maybe 3 or 4 months in. So Rishi and I talk every day. I mean, we're twins. We live near each other. So I'd seen, the progress he'd been making, and he kept saying, give it a shout, give it a try. And as Jamie said, I contacted Jamie a few times, and I'd been on the fence about it.
You know the comments that you got. Did it have a negative effect, or did you flip it on its head to almost drive you forward? Like, how did that feel? Because the comments are quite prevalent in our communities, isn't it? Especially like it being Asian, being Indians, like people have no filter, and things are just said. So how did that drive you? Where were you at with that when those comments were being made?
Yeah, so I knew they didn't mean anything by it. As you said, our community, they don't really have a filter. So when I went to India, for example, last year, all of my sort of family they're saying, "Oh, Raam, you look healthy," which we all know what that means. And I didn't take anything by it, but it made me think, well, I need to do something then. If I keep getting these comments, if I'm noticing it and other people are noticing it, something's got to be done about it, and I'm the only person who can do something about it. And I think that's why I finally came off the fence and decided to do something about it.
Yeah, and you haven't looked back since. It's really good.
No, exactly.
I think he was on the fence mainly because he was probably scared and nervous about, oh my God, what if I can't do this? What if I can't do the same as what Rishi's doing? Because for you, you've already got 2 children. Rishi was still expecting baby Jay.
That's right.
You had Nikki, and I think both of you were at that stage where, what if we can't do it? What if we can't keep up with it? So it was more of that.
But that was it. I mean, Nikki and I, so my wife, Nikki, she's also on the program. We started together, and I have to say that's one of the best decisions I've made, joining the program and joining it together with Nikki, because we're motivating each other. And before, she's very good at the diet thing and I'm very good at the exercise thing, which Jamie knows. but we couldn't really keep each other accountable, because if I've had a long day, or, you know, Nikki's had a rough time of it, the stock response for you to sort of go back with is, let me do something to make you happy. Let me do something to make my spouse or my partner happy. And, you know, you get them some ice cream, or you get them a treat, or, you know, you sort of enable them. And that's what we were finding. You know, if I was having a rough day of it, Nikki was like, okay, put the salad to the side, you know, go and get your jacket potato and your chips and your pasta and whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, have a sweet treat after. Just you know, cheer yourself up. That's where we were struggling, keeping each other accountable. And I think joining together as a couple, not only have we got our own goals and our own sort of ways of working, but we also motivate each other.
Yeah.
Really good.
It's really important. It's really important. So you've already explained to us what life was like before you joined Affinity. So what is life like now for you? Like your results, you've seen your results, obviously. You've been working with us for a while. What does your day look like now?
Yeah, I didn't think I would ever get to this point. If I'm honest, you know, I'm 20 kilos 20 kilos down now after 8 months, I think, 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
And everything just seems to work like clockwork now. At the beginning of the program, you know, I thought it would be a huge faff to weigh everything, track everything, look at what you're doing, get your steps in. But now it just seems like second nature. And I think I've got a better relationship with food, with work-life balance, with my kids because of it. I'm making time for myself. I don't feel like I'm, you know, squeezing more into a set number of hours. I think I'm just being smart with how I do things. I wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym. By the time I'm home, you know, 5:30, the kids are awake, so it just sort of naturally progresses into getting the kids ready. Breakfast is sorted because I know I've already tracked that on MyFitnessPal, so there's no umming and ahhing about what to make for breakfast. Same for lunch. I've saved tons of money in the last 7 or 8 months with bringing lunch from home, and you know, it's a lot more tasty because you can make it the way you want, whilst knowing that what you're eating is good for you. And then again, same with dinner. Nikki and I have planned that on the Sunday, so we know exactly what we're going to eat. I'm actually planning takes a lot of that sort of decision making out of the way. It gives you that time back over the week, and I've got more time now to play with the kids. I read now before going to bed. Before it used to be, you know, snacking and watching TV, snacking and playing games, staying up late. I read now before going to bed, and you know, simple things like that. I don't think I would have done if I didn't have the time in the day.
Awesome. So it sounds like you've actually got more time back, whereas a lot of people,
Yeah,
their reservations are, I don't have time for it, but you've got yourself
that's
organized
it.
and got more time back. Um,
Yeah,
I have a question, well, two questions that sort of that you've touched on. You mentioned that you're always like, you know, a slim growing up, skinny kid sort of thing.
yeah,
What led to the weight gain? Like how did it come on? Was it just life, or like how did that happen?
yeah. I mean, I've got a few excuses as to why the weight sort of piled on. When I was younger, I loved my food, but you know, it just seemed to sort of burn off straight away. So I thought I could eat more and more. Um, I went from eating 2 Rotleys at dinner to 6 Rotleys at dinner. Breakfast, you know, I would have 6 Weetabix or 4 pieces of toast.
Damn. Okay, yeah.
Because the more you eat, the more you sort of feel like you need to eat.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it felt like with me anyway. You know, the more I ate, the more satisfied I was, but then I would need something more to sort of keep that satisfaction going.
Yeah.
Lunches as well, I would always go out and get lunch, and wasn't making the smart choices with them. I mean, when I was working in the city, so this is before COVID days, there was this one place I would go to. They knew me as a regular. They would get me pasta, chips, and a bottle of water. And you
Right,
think
just by
carbs,
seeing
carbs.
you.
I'm having something healthy with the water,
Yeah.
Um,
and I would have, 3, 4 times a week.
so it was just like
Oh, wow.
poor food choices essentially, which led to sort of the
Yeah,
point that you got to. Awesome.
yeah, that's it.
When Rishi was on a few months ago, he had this really cool stat about how many hours he's committed to the program and things like that.
Yeah,
I don't expect you to pull those numbers out, but
no,
for
he's the
someone
numbers guy. Yeah,
but for someone listening in who's got the reservations around time, if you
yeah.
could roughly do it now, like how much time are you committing to this out of your week to the process of you sort of losing 20 kilos? Like how much time are you actually giving up?
It's not much at all. Look, I didn't do any exercise beforehand. I now go to the gym 3 times a week, and I spend no more than an hour. I think an hour is pushing it. So that's 3 hours out of, would you get 168 hours in a week?
Mhm.
3 hours towards exercising, and the food prep. Honestly, we do that, and we plan for the food prep whilst we're sitting there watching TV, whilst I'm driving towards the to the shops, um, whilst I'm lying in bed or walking towards work. That doesn't really take any time at all. And once you've built up a bank of 2, 3 weeks worth of meals that you'll enjoy, the calories for, how to prep them, it doesn't really take much time at all. Honestly, if I were to prep everything in one week, I would say it would probably be one afternoon,
Awesome. Okay. But
one
Yeah.
Sunday
you do
afternoon.
things as you go
Yeah,
along. Like one of our expectations
exactly.
within the program is like you don't have to do meal prep unless you absolutely want to. And we
No,
say to people like you can do it as you go along and but
yeah,
just know what your strategy is for the day. Like have it written down somewhere like breakfast is this, lunch is this, dinner is this. So it's really good
that's
to
it.
hear that, just from someone that's done so well firsthand that it's not that time consuming as all, because it is, I think, the most
Really isn't.
biggest reservation for people, right? It's like, where does this fit into my already busy life?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think they probably found not planning their meals more time consuming before they came onto the program,
It's that
because they're
yeah,
so busy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
what do
deciding,
Because
we what do we what do we do? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
I
back and
think
forth,
that
isn't it?
just wasted so much of their time probably. And because they're
yeah,
both busy working, like Nikki's full time teaching at school. By the time she
yeah,
comes home, she's got to deal with the two little ones as well. So this saves a lot of her time, knowing that dinner's going to be quick, easy, ready. Kids are going to be fed, and then they're both
well, that's it.
relaxing
Yeah,
early in the evening. Um,
exactly, exactly. I
Has it
mean,
taken away from time with the kids, the
no,
workouts and things
not
like
at
that?
all,
No?
not at all. In fact, I've shown Jamie a few videos of the kids trying to exercise with us.
yeah,
Yeah, they're always trying to get involved. But yeah, just coming back to the food prep and the planning thing, I mean, everyone puts together a shopping list when you go for your weekly shop, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
If you prep while you're making the shopping list, you kill two birds with one stone. Um, you know what you're going to go get when you're shopping. That stops you from, picking up random things. It will save you money because you're not picking up random things. You're going by your list, and at the same time, you've prepped what you're going to make for the next few days or for the next week. You've done both things in one go. It's just
yeah,
small things like that. And yeah, at the beginning of the course or the program, sorry, Nikki and I were planning everything and trying to food prep on the Sundays. But then we realised, as we got used to it, and we were sort of more confident in what we were going to have. You can do that 2, 3 days in advance. You
yeah,
don't have to spend the whole weekend planning, prepping, cooking. You can do it 2, 3 days in advance, and yeah, it honestly doesn't take that much time at all. Cut some salad, um, decide what you're going to have, make sure it's in the fridge, and that's it.
Amazing. So good to hear.
yeah. It's really good. So I'm sure there's been days or times where you've lacked motivation on this program, because everyone goes
Yeah,
through it, or you go through a phase where you're bored of it or you're stagnant and you're like, Jamie, it's not working. What am I doing? And I know you've done it. So
yeah.
in those times, what is it that's kept you going?
Just remembering to trust the process. And I think I mentioned this in our the WhatsApp group that we have with all of the Affinity members. which is great, by the way, because everyone motivates each other. So, you know, you're not doing it just by yourself. You've got, you know, loads of other people going through the same journey with you. But yeah, it's just trusting the process. You know, first of all, you have to put your hands up and say, I'm not motivated, or I've slipped a bit. Because if you want to make the change, you can't make that change unless you realize that there is something to be changed. If you don't accept it, then, you know, as much as you try, nothing's ever going to happen. So I think the first step is realizing and accepting that there's something that you need to do to change or do something different. And then trust the process. I came and spoke to you, I think it was over the Easter term break. And I said, I don't think I'm as disciplined as I've been previously. I felt a little drop in motivation. You know, what should I do?
I think it was when you came back from holiday. I think it's after you came back from holiday. Yeah,
that's right.
And you're in that. You were still in holiday mood for quite a while, and I was like, right, you need to kick that arse in gear now and get out of this.
That's it. But I think if I had just, you know, kept that to myself, or just thought, you know what, this is fine, I wouldn't be back on the train. So I needed to accept that I needed to do something about it, and I came and spoke to you. So I think trust the process, accept that you need to make the changes, and only you will be responsible for those changes. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, I spoke to you, got the motivation back in, doubled down. We kept to the tracking, the food prep, the exercises, just the simple things that we've been doing for the last 7 or 8 months. And the weight was going back in the same direction again.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome. Final one. What's been your biggest like learning aha moment, like the thing that came with when you came into the program, you're like, oh damn, that's what I was sort of missing. That's the thing that I needed to have been doing. What's been your biggest learning throughout the process?
You don't need to diet. You really don't need to diet. I don't think it's about you know, what foods you're restricting yourself to, or you're taking out of your dietary plans. It's about having a healthy relationship with food. Enjoy what you're having, but just be accountable for it. You know, I still like my pasta, I still like my chips, I've got a sweet tooth, I like my chocolates, etc.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, can I ask you a question when you say like your pasta and chips? Have you gone back to that shop at lunchtime to get your pasta and chips?
No. Haven't sit there again. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking a lot more lunches from home now, and I'm making them the way I want it. So yeah, I'm having salad, but I'm also having, you know, a chocolate bar. I'm also having something filling. So I've come to realize, and I think my aha moment was, you don't need to diet. You just need to think about food responsibly. You know, eat what you want, but you've got to be accountable for it, because if you don't like the way your weight or your life is heading, and the only person that can make a change about it is you. So if you don't like, you know, how you're looking after eating all of this food, do something about it. If you're happy with the way that you look, and you know, you think you're on track, that's absolutely great. Keep doing what you're doing. But there's always something to improve, and I think if you just make small changes, small tweaks to the foods that you're eating and the amount of calories that you're eating, it will make a huge difference. Sorry, I like to ramble on a bit, but
no, that's fine.
That's fine.
It's
fine.
It's because basically a lot of people, and maybe even your perceptions of losing weight were, I have to restrict, cut X, Y, Z out. Salads is all I can eat, and that's the only way that I'm going to drop this 20 kilos. But now you've kind of been shown that no, include everything. But like you say, be responsible for it. If you're going to have that paneer and moga on the weekend, don't go have seconds, thirds, and fourths of it, right? Just, you can still enjoy it, but don't go wild with it.
You know, have your salads, have your fruit. They're great for you. Don't just live off salad and fruit, because it's not sustainable. And the whole point of this is you want to get to the point where, get to a place where you're happy, and then keep on with that. It's supposed to be a lifestyle change. It's not a diet or a fad that you do for 6 weeks or whatever. If you're going to be eating salad every day, you're not going to be able to sustain that. So have your salad, have your fruit, enjoy your food, but just be responsible about it and be accountable for it. And you'll see the changes.
Amazing.
Amazing. And a final one from me is, do you have any tips that you would give someone who wanted to start out on this journey, is on the fence like you were before, or someone who's sort of feeling demotivated right now and is at that stage where they're stuck? Any tips that you would give anyone?
Yeah, sure. So the first one is, if you're on the fence about it, just do it. What have you got to lose? You're on the fence for a reason. You don't like how you look or how you feel, or there is some aspect that you want to change, but something's holding you back from taking that step. Take that first step. Once you take that first step, the rest of the steps are going to be much easier. Second tip would be, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a whole community out there. I mean, we've got the Affinity community. We've got amazing coaches. We've got people you can ask for help, people who will give you suggestions, but you have to ask for that help. Nobody's going to sort of offer it to you unless you ask for that help first. And the third one goes back to trusting the process. If you're demotivated and, I don't know, you're 3 months or 6 months in and you've lost that motivation, just go back to the basics and trust the process. And you'll realize sooner rather than later that things will start looking up again.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you so much, Raam.
No
Really,
problems.
really great insights. And yeah, there's a load of useful tips in there for newbies, people that are on their journey, people that are in the same position as you as well. So really appreciate your time and thank you for coming on.